Hi, this is Silon from spirituallivingforbusypeople.com. In today's video, I'd like to talk about spirituality. What does it mean and why does it matter? So spirituality, the word is everywhere. And some people would say that it's overused to the point that it's meaningless. But I would like to share with you some thoughts that I have about the word itself, and a framework that I use to make sense of that word. And hopefully it will be helpful to you. So when I think of the word spirituality, three things come to mind. The first thing is the idea of restlessness. What do I mean by that? Restlessness is a feeling, is a sense of not really knowing what to do with the self. I think it's something that we can all relate to. I think we live in an age of restlessness, for sure, where, and I think you see that most with people who seem to have it all. They seem to have everything that you think a person can have that will help them be satisfied and contented and so on. But they still want more. There's still a drive to get more money, more things, more esteem, more success, on and on. There is a sense that there is this bottomless pit of need that can never be completely filled or also satisfied. That's what I'm trying to get at when I talk about restlessness. And spirituality forces us to confront our restlessness and asks us, what will you do with that restlessness? Will you use it to try to take more for yourself, feeding that beast that is always hungry? Or will you use it in a way that is helpful to others, that you focus on others as a way of managing your own restlessness? So that's one. The second thing that I think of when I think of the word spirituality is the idea of an expansive self. So when we're small, when we're young, the self is pretty contained to just me, myself, and I, as the saying goes, right? And some of us have a hard time growing out of that. But for most of us, as we grow, the self expands, right? So it expands to mom and dad. It expands to siblings. It expands to extended family. It expands to the whole world and caring for our planet, because we realize that there is a oneness, that if you are not well, then I am not well. If the world is not well, then I am not well as a part of that world. So an expansion of the self necessarily leads us to caring for others, not just for self-preservation, but because it is something that we are wired to do as social beings, that we help one another, because that is how we all thrive. So that's the second thing. The third thing is the idea of paradox. So paradox is basically a statement that is illogical on its face, but expresses a deeper truth. Probably a more popular one would be, the weak shall be strong and the strong shall be weak. So, for instance, the idea of being vulnerable, right? So in our culture, vulnerability is often associated with weakness, where spirituality says actually vulnerability is a sign of strength. It is a sign of deep strength that helps one to grow. So there's that. There's also the paradox of giving and receiving, right? That when I give, I receive. If I try to get, and this circles us right back to restlessness, right? So if I'm always trying to get, that I never receive. It's only in giving and letting go that I get, right? So that's the idea of paradox. that the world isn't quite what it seems, that there are always these topsy-turvy things, and that we have to be aware and mindful of that. That somebody might seem to have it all together and to be confident and know where they're going and what they're doing, but maybe there's a way in which that person might actually be struggling in ways that are hidden. And so we can be mindful of that, mindful of each other, that paradox is always at play. And that if I'm feeling weak, if I'm feeling small, that I can trust that that's leading me to something that will help me to be stronger. That I don't have to put others down in order to make myself bigger, because paradoxically, putting others down actually makes me smaller, not bigger. So, and that's what I think about. I think about those three things primarily when I think of spirituality. Is what do I do with my life in these three areas? So, I hope it's helpful. If you have any thoughts on it, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear your thoughts as well, because spirituality, it's a word that's here. It's here to stay for a while. So I hope that you find some meaning from this and that it helps you in your own walk. Thank you.